Everybody's talking about the presidential debate which took place on Monday, 24th July. And everybody's talking about the impact it's going to have on the votes, actual voting. Okay? Now you're in luck because in this recording, I'm going to give you a very good idea of the kind of impact it's going to have on the voting on August 8th. Now, if you've read my latest book, Jubilee Goofs, you will know exactly what's happening on the inside, especially concerning the people advising the president. And therefore, using this information, I came to the conclusion that the president would not turn up. Okay? I had, of course, a few hair-raising moments, if I can call them that, because I invested a lot in the president not turning up. When we came to this conclusion, because of the way these advisors behave, the elderly people, the age of my late father, a bit younger, and old men are set in their thinking, so it was therefore predictable. And this, these are the people of the ear of the president. It was a bit predictable that he would not show. Okay, I tried to think ahead to see what impact that would have, and I took a gamble. Actually, that's why I've been missing in action over the last 48 hours or so. I actually covered a particular county myself. Okay, we are thin on resources, we are thin on people, so we try and stretch as much as possible. So I took it upon myself to cover a county, not Nairobi. I don't like easy counties. I like it down there in the mashinani, the rural people, because those give you a very good reflection. I don't talk to the people here in Nairobi, very well educated people, people on the internet, no. I'm interested in the people down there. Okay. So we covered that, and our whole intention of the whole idea of the exercise was to try and gauge the impact it would have on the polls. Okay, and this, the result of what we did, is what you're about to listen to. Now, for starters, I want you to consider a certain interesting statistic from the last election, 2013. In 2013, there was a candidate who was not known by the public. Nobody had ever heard of him. He had held no public office before that. Nobody knew him. Okay, his advertising in the media was zero. His posters, I never saw a single poster of his. 2013. Now that particular candidate, just by virtue of being in the presidential debate, participating in it, and being able to put in a word or two, he didn't speak much. He wasn't given much time, but the little time he had to speak and the few things he had to say were his only campaign platform. Or rather, let me put it this way, were his most important campaign platform for 2013. Of course, I'm talking about Mohamed Dida. Now Dida in 2013 got 52,848 votes. Not much, but he beat Martha Karua by almost 10,000 votes. Because Martha Karua got 43,000 something. Okay, he also beat people who are very well known in the public, people like Paul Mwite, and he was not too far behind Peter Kenneth, who spent massive amounts of resources, was campaigning countrywide, was on social media, was everywhere. He came quite close to Peter Kenneth because the difference between them was less than 20,000 votes. Okay, because Peter Kenneth got 72,000 something. Okay, the long and short of what I'm trying to say is that contrary to what people say, the presidential debate has an impact on votes. That was the conclusion we came to. Okay, now, true, Kenya is a tribal country. True, people vote along tribal lines. All that is true. However, consider this: the two main tribes that cannot be changed or cannot be moved as far as the presidential election is concerned, the same as 2013, the Luo and the Kikuyu. Okay. Now, apart from those two tribes, we have over 40 other tribes in Kenya. Okay, and these people are aligned to one side or the other. Okay, that is true. But consider something else. Apart from these people being able to change their minds, there's also the fact that Kenya is changing, and this is why I have said that I believe that Jubilee went on the wrong side when it let these mzes into such an influential position of advising the president. Because these mzes have been overtaken by time, okay? And they're stuck in their ways. You see, I know this firsthand because I remember, let me just give you an interesting aside here. I remember after the 2007 elections, we would have debates with my late dad. And it was very difficult for him to put his mind around the fact that what was going to happen is that a government of national unity was going to be formed, a coalition government. He could not put his mind around that. Okay? Of course, he knew that legislation had to be passed, but he could just not put his mind around it. Yeah, not because he was daft or not because he was slow, but because when people reach a certain age, their minds close. This is a fact. Okay, based on their experiences, based on what they've been through, their minds kind of close. Now, in politics, that is extremely dangerous, especially in a country like Kenya where things are changing so quickly. Okay, anyway. The truth of the matter, and I can tell you this because I'm from the ground, I have my people on the ground, is that things in Kenya are changing. They're not changing in terms of 5 million votes, 4 million votes, and so on. Yes, but they're changing 1 million votes. I'll repeat that. They're changing 1 million votes. What do I mean? I mean that there are certain factors that have come into play that were there in 2013 in a small way, well, at least small way, enough for somebody like an unknown person like Dida to get all the votes he got, 52,000 something votes, more votes than Martha Karua had been in the public limelight for years, decades, yeah? Yes? Those factors are even more pronounced in the 2017 elections. Then also don't forget, out of the 19 million plus voters, we have close to 9 million voters who are young people. That is significant. Now, look at the thinking of our young people. How do our young people think? They think US. You know, they think US is a good country. They think, you know, the kind of thinking they have in their mind. So, when you take all these factors together, the presidential debate, the impact of the presidential debate on votes is greatly, greatly underestimated. Now I can say I've already run out of my time, so in the next part of this recording, I will give you a very explosive fact that will floor you about these presidential debates, yeah, and the impact it's going to have on voting on August 8th, okay? So make sure you don't miss that. You know the drill, just click on that link on the top left-hand corner of your screen, and I'll see you there in a bit. This is Chris Kumekucha.